This podcast is part of the Michigan Sports and Entertainment Podcast Network. Go to michigansportsandentertainment.com for more great podcasts.
Hey everyone, this is Austin.
What's going on, guys? This is John.
And you're listening to the Voice of the Fan Sports Podcast. All right, John, back episode 15 for Michigan State. Not giving it an A or B because we could release it as a B, even though we're recording it as an A.
Yeah, this is a little different. Putting me on the spot right away this time. I like it.
Well, the birthday boy, because you'll be gone over our normal recording period. So, happy early birthday to you there, John.
Appreciate it.
Getting
old.
Yeah, right.
24 comes at you fast.
Jeez. So. All right, kid. Whatever, kiddo. Cool.
Oh, man.
Not like 26 is that old, but it's older than 24 last time I checked, so I can gripe.
24 is like a weird, it's just like, all right, just another year. That's all it is now, it feels like.
Yeah.
Well, I have vacation to look forward to.
Yeah, going to Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, Milwaukee. Going to see the Bucks play the Celtics. Going to see some buddies that live out there now, so it should be interesting time, to say the least. Hopefully come back in one piece.
Well, yeah, hopefully you do. Otherwise, half of the podcast will be gone.
Yeah, I mean, luckily though, I mean, you have been here for it's been 15 episodes now. I feel like you could be a full-time Michigan State guy now.
Maybe. I mean, wouldn't be very good, but I could certainly try.
I have confidence in you. Just keep doing scouting tapes on everybody. You'll be fine. Just be the recruiting expert.
Oh yeah, exactly. There it is.
We're already babbling.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But like Austin said, it's episode 15. Little things. He had big news last week. I'm going on vacation this week, and so it's been a little chaotic for us. But here we are recording for you guys, doing what we love to do, and that is talk. Just obviously recapping the 2 games I believe that were on since the last time we did this. Beat a huge win versus Wisconsin. Or no, we already talked about the win versus Wisconsin.
We did.
All right. So out of sorts here. The one game that we haven't covered is the Ohio State game. It's a little weird for us doing this early in the week. Literally just recorded Thursday, Friday.
Yep.
And so here we are again Monday. Like I said, it's all on me this time, going on vacation. So one game to recap, talk a little bit about the Nick Ward injury, how it affects us, what the rotation is going to look like, or what I think it should look like, and then a little preview of how the Big Ten's going to turn out now, but pretty sure not going to turn out too well from State. But obviously still going to make the tournament, and hopefully Nick Ward comes back and all will be well. And then the last 3 recruits of this recruiting class, Tate Halleck, who's got a brother, who's got a brother here, and then Maverick Henson, who we flipped late from Central Michigan on the early signing day period, and then the punter, Jack Bowiemeister. Not going to have some 20-minute scouting report on him, but hate to disappoint you guys. But that'll be it. So I've 99% expect a pretty short episode here, but with the way we started this, 4 minutes in as the intro with us rambling, it could go on a while. But just getting right into things, yesterday, Michigan State played Ohio State at home. Was a little sluggish. I mean, pretty much the whole game until really the 7-minute mark in the second half. First half, we were down, I want to say we were down by 2. I'm pulling it up right now. My apologies. We were down... I'm sorry. We were down by 6 going into halftime. So 31-25 and a half. Kind of had the feeling almost of like, not the Purdue game because of the score differential, but just because of we did not score that many points. And it kind of just felt like it was going to be one of those games where we were really going to have to grind it out to get some more points and just find different ways to win because Cassius was struggling, and he really struggled all game. And other guys weren't really hitting their shots. Nick Ward had a good first half. But other than that, it was kind of sloppy. not a lot of turnovers, which is what you would expect. We just shot them. I think we shot like 29-30% in the first half. But we did a really good job of, we'll start with defense here, overall wise, of shutting down Caleb Wesson, who I don't know if you guys played Ohio State yet?
We have, and I think we have him again at home coming up.
Yeah, he's a load. He's really, I haven't watched too many Ohio State games other than really when Michigan played them, and then obviously the 2 games we played them. But Caleb Wesson absolutely demolished us in Columbus the first time when we went to go there. A few weeks ago, he had 25 points on us. We couldn't stop him. Obviously still came out on top, but a guy who can get a hot hand like that, especially playing the position he plays where you're going to drag a guy out like Nick Ward, who's a paint protector, out to the 3-point line because this kid can shoot it. They played really good defense on him, held him to 12 points, and he was their only double-digit scorer. His brother, Andre Wesson, had 4 points. CJ Jackson started off hot, but he kind of looked like banged up a little bit in the second half, kind of slowed down. He finished with 8. They're really good freshmen. Luther Muhammad had 2 points. Jallo had 3. Dwayne Washington Jr., the freshman from Grand Rapids, Michigan, had 4. So not a lot of offense from Ohio State, and you will find out exactly how little offense they had moving into the second half, Austin. They had a grand total of 13 points.
Yikes.
You are not going to win many basketball games scoring 13 points and a half.
Probably won't win any basketball games.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of funny, too, because I think there was like 10 minutes left in the game, and Bill Raftery commented on something Izzo said in the huddle. He told his players, I mean, obviously we're not scoring tonight, so he told them, you know, guys, they can't win if they can't score. And so from that moment, there's like 3 minutes where it was kind of back and forth, and from the 7-minute mark, Ohio State scored. It was 42-42, Austin, with 7 minutes and like 40 seconds left. Kyle Arns hit a 3 to go up 45-42. Ohio State ended with 44 points. They scored 2 points in the last 7 minutes, which is huge. I mean, I don't think you could ask for a better way to close out the game defensively. Ended up going on a 20-2 run to end it. And from our end of the spectrum here, Kenny Goins has just been special, to say the least, the last few weeks. He had another double-double. He played 33 minutes. The third most minutes behind McQuaid and Cassius. He just has a knack for finding the ball on the glass, the offensive glass, defensive glass. He's a strong rebounder, and we're definitely going to need him down the stretch. We'll get into that more. Bad news from East Lansing regarding health and other things like that. But he was great. Matt McQuaid hit some huge threes. He's finally gaining that confidence that I talked about a couple weeks ago that he needed to find. He missed some shots inside the key, some like little off balance jumpers, but they were on target, in and out. I'm not gonna rip on him about that. I'm just glad to see him actually. He would do this thing, Austin, where he would catch the ball and just hesitate. And you guys have shooters on your team. When they catch the ball, you want them to just shoot without hesitation. Like, don't think about it. You're a shooter to shoot. Shooters shoot. And since that Minnesota game where he had 18 points, he has just been catching the ball, and if he's got an inch of space, he is pulling the trigger. And hit or miss, I love seeing that because the kid can shoot when he's confident. So it's good to see him have his confidence back and his swagger back because he is your 3-and-D guy now with Langford out, and he has become one of the better defenders in the country, in my opinion. But obviously a little bias here, but that's just my, expert opinion, I guess we can call it. I feel like we almost call ourselves experts now, a couple months in. Not really, but kind of trying to post ourselves up a little bit. But Matt McQuaid was great on defense, especially. But man, he had some big 3-pointers for us. Cassius was really bad. I mean, there's another way to put it. He struggled. 13 points, 8 assists. I think he was like 6 for. I wish this box score was a little more descriptive, but I guess I can go on ESPN. But he didn't shoot the ball well. And you're not perfect. He's not perfect. Carson Edwards on Purdue, as Austin goes, is probably one of the, if not the best scorer in the country. One of them. He struggles on some nights too. So,
yeah,
it happens. But so it's good to see that we can win games without him scoring out there and scoring 20 points a game. Now that might have to be the case down the stretch here, but he just was. I mean, he had some great passes, but he just wasn't himself shooting the ball. His mid-range floater that he loves to use his off arm and get in the middle of the key and just kind of stop and throw it up there. He was missing those. Just he was off the mark. So, not really a lot offensively to talk about, but I guess getting into the bad news, Austin, Nick Ward at some point in the first half, fractured his hand. Hairline fracture. He said he went up for a rebound or something and collided with somebody's elbow. Yeah, Cassius was 3 for 15, by the way.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Oh, that happens.
1 for 7 from 3, 3 for 15 from the field. Matt McQuaid was huge with 4 for 6 from the 3-point line. But yeah, Nick Ward apparently got elbowed in the hand. We came out in the second half. The announcer said, well, Nick Ward's not going to start. So I'm like, okay, he kind of looked like a little sluggish at the end of the half. Maybe Izzo is just sending him a message. We're struggling a little bit. And then I see this wrap on his hand, and I'm like, immediately, I mean, we've been doing this since the middle of football season, and Austin knows by now, every time I see someone with any kind of injury, I'm going to be paranoid this year with Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing a wrap on his hand, I'm like, okay. And then Tillman gets a third foul. And I'm like, all right, so this is where we're going to really find out how serious this injury is if we see Ward come right back out or if we see a guy like Kithier come in and replace him. And we've seen Ward come out. So I'm like, okay, all right. And then, he plays a little bit, kind of catching the ball a little gingerly. And he goes back out. They retape it. He comes back in, and he looks like he's in more pain. And he was done for the night. Luckily, didn't need him the rest of the game. Team played well. I mean, Ohio State was awful, but we played well down the stretch to get the win. But after the game, at first it was kind of like not positive because injury is positive, but Tom Izzo comes out and says the trainers kind of just think it's like a dislocated finger or something. But then they get the wrap off, they go to the x-ray machine, and it is reported probably about 2 to 3 hours after the game. I actually took a little nap for an hour there, and I woke up to Nick Ward. What a great way to wake up. An ESPN alert, I wonder what this is. Nick Ward out indefinitely with a hairline fracture and a shooting hand. Fantastic. Literally the worst possible scenario that could have come out of that, other than his hand literally falling off. It's a huge loss. I mean, there's no other way to put it. This isn't the Josh Langford loss where you have depth at the guard position. You got guys like Matt McQuaid. Aaron Henry's been a surprise. Kyle Arns has been there. He's not fully healthy, but you got guys to come in and play. We're deep number-wise at the big position, but besides Tillman, Goins, and Ward, you can't put your confidence in a Marcus Bingham, especially Marcus Bingham. He's only played sparingly, a lot early on, kind of against weaker opponents where he could use his not so big body and succeed because he's got a great jump shot. And then Thomas Kithier, who plays his ass off, but he's not fully developed at either, I think, frame-wise. So there's guys going to be thrown into the fire. It's just welcome to the Big Ten kind of thing. I don't know if Travion Williams was kind of just thrown into the fire because you guys needed him or if he kind of was slowly built up, but he has the body for it. I mean, he worked his ass off in the offseason, cut some weight off, and he looks like he's in great game shape and was a huge, huge pickup for Purdue. But this case, Marcus Bingham's not going to gain 20 pounds in 2 days. So you're going to look at Tillman and Goins playing. God, I hate, this is disgusting saying this. You're going to see both of them having to play 32 plus minutes probably. So that's your two big guys that aren't as, they aren't as in shape, obviously, as guys like Cassius and McQuaid and all that guard-wise. They get tired a little quicker. You got to stay out of foul trouble. Big men tend to get into foul trouble. Tillman did against Ohio State. And it's going to be a lot of pressure on those two. They're going to play the bulk of the minutes. And we have bodies to throw in there, but they're not really bodies you want to see being thrown in there, other than like when you're winning by 18 and you have, Jack Hoiberg Fred Hoiberg's son, the walk-on at Michigan State. He comes in and does like his own horrible dribble moves, step back 3-pointer. The bench goes crazy. I mean, this is going to be times where you're playing Michigan Sunday, and you need something big. Tillman gets his third foul off in 12 minutes left in the game. Who do you turn to? It's that type of situation. So these kids are going to be thrown into the fire, and it's Izzo's bed. And he's going to lay in it. I mean, these are the guys he recruited. Injuries happen. There's no excuses for it. You got to go out there and play. It's the next man up. This is a team he's built, so we're gonna see what these kids are made of. All 4 of them I thought were projects coming in, or 5 of them actually. I'm sorry. Aaron Henry has been a surprise. Gabe Brown has shown glimpses, but Kithier and Bingham have huge question marks on them, and we're gonna find out what they're made of down the stretch. So it's definitely scary. I think we go from being a legit, outright Big Ten title contender to even falling behind to 4th, I'd say. Austin, I'd say Maryland has a better shot than us right now, because I see 3 to 4 games we can lose now in the remaining of the schedule without Nick Ward. I mean, you got Michigan twice. If he's not back, you can easily lose both of those, even if you're home. We got a game with Nebraska left, and we go to Indiana. So there's not a for sure win anywhere in there, I don't think. So all these games are losable. You're going to need the best out of Cassius Winston. It's going to be not a fun stretch, Austin, as I thought it was going to be. Don't really want to get swept by Michigan again.
Right.
But it's looking like it's going to be very possible. And luckily, I mean, the one ace in our hand that we have is Tom Izzo and Cassius Winston, right? So you have a Hall of Fame coach. You kind of hope he can figure it out. But at the same time, you start running out of bodies. And then, like I said, there's no excuses. I mean, there's next man up. But at the same time, you need bodies to play basketball. So maybe they find another Kenny on the streets and bring him in. But it's going to be scary down the stretch. And like I brought up, Michigan game Sunday. Luckily, I'll be flying back in pending weather. I'll be back in time for the game. I know Wednesday I'll probably be delayed when I fly out because we're expecting a snowstorm here and there. So that'll be fun. But come back Sunday, watch the game. I mean, the thing about Michigan, the one positive about this is Michigan's not that deep either. Sorry, I was getting a drink there. But when you look at Michigan Twitter, you watch a Michigan game, Michigan really struggles with their bench and offensively. So you're gonna have to go bang for bang with their starters, and the best starting five is gonna have to win that game. It's probably gonna be a 7-man rotation in that game with how big of a game it is, depending on how much Izzo trusts his guys and pending foul trouble. Michigan's got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys who can score off the dribble, which is a little nerve-wracking without having a guy like Langford and Ward. So it'll be an interesting game. Unfortunately, I think we come out with this one with an L. You're going into Ann Arbor. It's going to be the second game without Nick Ward. I kind of feel bad. Is it a sign of how Rutgers is that we're just kind of skipping over there right to the Michigan game? But yeah, I don't know. I don't see. I mean, I don't know if there's anything you can tell me, Austin, to get my hopes up about playing Michigan at Michigan without Nick Ward and Langford. But generally, when you're without 2 of your 3 best players on your roster and you go to Ann Arbor, your rival, on the road, it's not going to end well.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be just interesting what Tom Izzo is going to have to do with his offense. It's going to completely change. Kenny Goins is a really versatile guy, but he's not more of a Swiss Army knife than he is like a pure post guy. So I don't know if that helps Michigan State or hurts them, because Michigan is really athletic and lengthy. I know they gave Purdue fits last year with just being able to hit the 3 from their big man, Mo Wagner. So I don't know if Michigan State's something that, if that opens things up for more drives, or, Kenny can obviously shoot the 3. So we'll kind of see if that helps, but I think you hit it perfectly with the minutes, just being able to rotate them, and they're going to have to stay out of foul trouble.
Yep.
So if you're Michigan, you're probably trying to just attack. So you're going to have to adjust your defense, I think, to have more help for the dribble drive. You might have to live with playing less aggressive on screens just so you can, drop back and help them. So I don't know. I mean, it'll be tough, but it's Michigan. It's Michigan State. I mean, anything can happen. Cassius can take over a game.
For sure.
If McQuaid can lock down, whoever.
That's the question, too, is because Charles Matthews is probably their best scorer as of right now, but he's like 6'8", 6'9". So it's going to be interesting to see who we have on him. We'll probably throw Aaron Henry on him, and McQuaid will probably guard Jordan Poole, which I'm fine with because Poole can score as well. It's really going to be interesting guarding Iggy, their freshman. It's going to be Kenny Goins and him matched up. So you got senior versus freshman. And that's the thing, like Austin said, it's going to be controlling foul trouble, seeing how, fatigued you get. Because in a game like this, and especially with how shorthanded we are, they're going to try to get in your head, going to try to force you to foul, get you into foul trouble, and get those other freshmen in. And things could get chaotic. So
yeah,
it's going to be fun to see. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, obviously, you still got to play the game. Both teams do. There's no for sure wins, especially in this league. We've all had some bad. I mean, you guys only had your bad loss to Notre Dame.
Yeah,
I know we've had 2 bad losses. So at least Louisville, I guess, wasn't horrible.
No, Louisville will be a good loss because they're up there now.
Yeah, even though they blew like a 23-point lead to Duke, but
yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to watch like the rival antics because of the foul trouble and the shorthandedness that Michigan State has to deal with. McQuaid, I feel like the offense. I'm glad you brought up Kenny Goins and the Swiss Army knife because Michigan does run zone a lot of the time, or not a lot, but they do throw zone in there. You put Kenny Goins in the middle of the zone. You have Cassius kind of drive and kick, or you kind of have a guy like McQuaid who's showing the confidence to drive. Kind of have Kenny kind of maybe screen and slip outside to the top of the key where he's most comfortable, and that's probably going to be your offense is Cassius trying to drive around it and kicking back out to Kenny or trying to find McQuaid or a guy like Kyle Arns in the corner. So you're not going to have that true post scorer. I mean, Tillman's got some post moves, not fully developed. He's a really good rebounder, really strong defender, and he's a high motor guy, but he doesn't have those defined post moves that Nick Ward has. It will be nice to have a bigger body on John Teske of Michigan to kind of combat things. Tillman's a little bigger than Nick Ward. But like I said, this Nick Ward's a guy that you could dribble down the court and give him the ball and he can go to work in the post. Or as Austin's seen the last few years, Nick Ward literally sprints down the court and he will catch you if you're lazy on the fast break, and Cassius will find him. So other guys are going to have to find a way to do things like that and out-hustle the other team. So not saying it's impossible, not looking good, but like I said, we have Tom Izzo, which is a lot of teams which they could say they had. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame coach, and he tends to do things that we don't expect him to do, and we're definitely lucky to have him as much as I complain about some things that he does. But other than that, like I said, Nick Ward, huge loss. It's way bigger than the Langford loss, in my opinion. You have guys who could replace Langford and Henry and McQuaid and stuff, and guys like that. So not an easy blow to take. But other than that, I still think Purdue comes out on top. I'm sure Austin likes to hear that, as he hopes his Purdue Boilermakers come out on top, which you might hear him solo on his episode, or I might be in there throwing in my 2 cents that I do, but make sure you listen to that one as well for more Big Ten breakdown of the remainder of the basketball season. But moving on from that, Austin, closing out our last segment, which has been probably my favorite segment that we've done. I mean, we haven't really done like too many other like creative segments or anything like that, but between talking about football and basketball and predicting things here and there, I I think really breaking down the recruiting class has been my favorite thing that we've done so far. I've learned some things about scouting that you taught me, what things to look for. And I've always loved looking into recruiting and finding out where guys are going to go, learning about these kids. So it's been fun for me. I think you still got 3 more guys after this week, don't you?
I feel like I've got a good amount still. We had 26 total.
Yeah.
So
all right. Well, so what we'll do, Spartan fans, is we'll look at the future and start talking about some 2020 targets and where we're looking at and how we're looking in that. But to close it out, we are going to start with who's first on the list here? Tate Halleck, little brother of Tanner, who I think was also a athlete when he committed here. Kind of like just a guy who is a football player. You're going to try to find a place to put him. I personally, if my phone would, I'm trying to pull his. Anyways, I personally liked this film. I don't think he's like some diamond in the rough stud or anything like that. I can see him definitely being a contributor in the future to this defense, kind of like a Matt Morrissey was. Austin, just for reference, I don't know if, you probably don't, he wasn't big of a player. He's number 10 on the defense, kind of came in the box. He was a big, tall safety. And this kid fits that mold. He's it says 6'3" and 6'4", so we'll go with what it says now. 6'3", 185. I'm out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Oh, wow, they give him a ranking. I don't know if this is today or I don't know when this happened, but the 1,011th best recruit in the country. But that's nothing negative about the kid. I mean, we all go hell, we had that catfishing recruit story where rivals ranked this guy a 5-star without watching film or anything. So, but he's definitely going to be a safety here, I think. My issue with that is I did not see any coverage film, and we'll find out if Austin ended up finding anything while he's watching film, but he's a guy who's going to come down in the box. He's going to stop the run. He's kind of like a hybrid linebacker safety type is what it looked like. It looked like every time I seen him playing an offense, he was going up against a team that just likes to run the ball. But he was a great tackler. He really kind of exploded into kind of getting himself into stopping the run. That's the thing, though. I mean, when I'm looking at a safety and I don't see any coverage film or anything to look at, it's kind of scary. Obviously, I mean, he's not a guy that needs to play right away. But that's the one thing I saw. I mean, he's going to be a box guy coming that's what is that? Delta formation that we love to run. You bring in like 4 safeties, throw a couple of them in the box, kind of where you put linebackers in, third downs, and blitz sometimes, kind of drop back into coverage, play at that slot corner spot that Khari Willis did. That's the type of guy I kind of see him being. I don't see him being an every down safety, drop back to deep coverage kind of guy. He could be a punt returner, kick returner for you. There's some positive film on that. Watching him, he's definitely an athlete. He's a multi-sport athlete. But other than that, I mean, he seemed to have good ball skills. I mean, he was a solid receiver in high school. He really seemed to know how to find the ball. Didn't seem to run the crispest routes, so that's why. And we're deep at receiver. I don't see him going over there. Austin, I don't know if you found like something I didn't see, or if you have more positive notes on this kid, but he's kind of just a project, in my opinion, which is nothing wrong with that, but that's just where I'm at with him right now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100% with everything you said. Does a lot of things well, but nothing great that stands off or stands out to me personally.
Yep.
I mean, you covered everything. Obviously played receiver, had some pretty good ball skills, so you can assume that would translate over to the safety position. Didn't see any coverage, so can't make – I mean, I don't know about
that was
that
driving
side,
me nuts.
which is
I'm like,
kind of
how
weird.
do I not see any coverage? Like, how is there nothing in here?
Yeah, there were punts in there, but no drop back. So, I mean, I would assume that he can be rangy. I mean, he can run, he returns kicks, so he's got that athletic ability, and he played receiver, so he has the ball skills to go up and make a play, but obviously it's different backpedaling and reading an offense. So that'll just be the mystery. Good tackler, like you said, John, really good at the point of attack, doesn't let the runner get through him. Usually when he makes contact, he does a really good job wrapping up, and that's all she wrote for the runner. So you really like to see that. That's a really positive thing to have, especially as a safety. Sometimes you're that last resort, the last man, and you got to break down, you got to wrap up, and you really like to see that being, really effective in the high school tapes. So that's always good. I really don't know where Michigan State's going to play him. I really don't. I'm sure he'll be able to be somewhere if he works hard.
Yeah,
I would projected
him at safety, but you never know.
I like that. 6'3", 6'4", 6'4", whatever he is, and athletic like that, that's a really nice safety prospect, kind of that raw prospect. You want to see if he can be rangy. Obviously, he can come down into the box and be a tackler for you. Whether or not he would be a strong safety, I don't know. It would just depend on if he bulks up a little bit, and obviously his coverage. Is he going to be able to drop down in man, or is he going to be your single high guy full time? Just a project in my opinion. I don't think his receiver tape was, all that great compared to some of the other guys that you have. Looked okay in his routes, but I really didn't pay much attention to it. Talking to you prior to watching as a safety, that's what I wanted to focus in on. So,
and I think what you can expect is kind of like a Matt Morrissey type role, a specialist safety. I think the ceiling would be a guy who is highly touted as a recruit. He's tall and lanky, really athletic. That'd be Monte Nicholson, who I'm sure Austin's heard of now. He's in the NFL, plays for the Redskins. He was kind of that when he came in. He was highly touted, but didn't really have much coverage tape on him. Kind of just like an athlete out there, kind of playing football in high school. But he was highly touted, unlike Tate. But that'd be kind of your ceiling, who really turned into a star at Michigan State and Monte. So I think that'd be his ceiling. I don't expect him to get to that, but I think that would be the best comparison I could give you guys. That would be a really the best case scenario. Who knows if you ever see him on the field for us. I think he could turn into a guy who can make some plays in certain points of the game, but he's definitely an athlete. He's plays hard, and that's really all you can ask for with a guy who's not really highly touted. But moving on from him to Maverick Henson, I don't have much on him either, other than he is. But I hate saying this because I don't know who he's playing, but he is really strong. I thought, and mean, I guess would be a way to describe him. There's one play that sticks out that I still remember from when I watched some film on him, more on him today. They were inside the 20, and I can't remember if it was a run play. I'm pretty sure it was, where he pushes this like linebacker back like 5 yards and pushes him again and pushes him again, then finally throws him on the ground and just stares down at him. And this all goes on with like getting him all the way backed up into the end zone. So blocking somebody continuously for 20 yards is just mean and kind of rude. But I kind of noticed what Austin, I don't know if it was a guy that I think it was a guy that's on your film. He seemed to use a lot of his upper body, mostly his upper body when blocking, in my opinion. This is on the offensive side. I probably should have described him a little more. He's like 6'5". He's probably going to play D-line for us. He could play O-line. But on the offensive side is what I'm talking about right now. And even on the defensive side, he does this. I kind of felt like he used all of his upper body strength, not a lot of his lower body. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I didn't see a lot of like technique with his hands that you want to see a D-lineman use. Kind of used his strength to his advantage, which is fine at that level. But when you're coming into the Big Ten, and how we always point out Wisconsin, that's because they always have that pro-style offensive line. That's not going to work. You're not just going to bully them back. They're going to block you, and they're probably going to put you on your ass if you just try that. You got to have some type of move on the D-line to get past these offensive linemen. So, like I said, really strong, kind of a mean guy blocking. He's got a high motor. which seems to be guys that D'Antonio likes to get, guys who really never give up on the play. They work their asses off, and that type of player. Austin will be able to give you more of a detail and depth. He's really good with guys in the trenches, so go ahead, Austin.
So I mean, I'd be a little sad if he was a defensive line prospect because I'm looking at and
that's what he's projected as right now. I thought kind of the same thing. I'm kind of thinking what you're thinking, but go ahead.
I mean, it was okay, his defensive snaps, but I mean, everyone that's listened in, anytime that there's individual camp drills where you get a really good look at just a one-on-one rep, I'm all over it. So I've probably watched, it's just 36 seconds, but you can learn so much in this little 36-second clip.
I gotta get better at is finding those clips and watching these guys huddle where it's every single best play they've ever put on their high school career.
Yeah, and so he's at tackle, and the thing that translates over from the high school tape into this camp tape is aggressiveness. I mean, he's mean, and that is what you want on the offensive line. It is just this gritty, I'm going to put you into the ground, I'm going to block you until the whistle, and I'm not going to let up. That kind of mentality. And just really looking at him, I mean, obviously it's not padded, but they're pretty aggressive here, and I think there's only one rep where he got off balance and was a little grabby. But really, looking at the first rep here, I guess we'll just break down this since it's only 38 seconds.
I think I found this clip that you're talking about. Let's see.
Yeah, so
right, we'll break it down. There you go.
so the first clip, you see a good first outside step, but balance with that slide with the inside, and his arms come up and ready in a jab position. So he's ready to hit this defensive lineman that you can't really see what he's trying to do to him. But he tries to set him up wide. And so it looks like he tries to set him up wide, with a little jab step inside and then coming back out, but does a really good job. You can see his wide base, really good job of keeping it in front of him, not going, top heavy and kind of wiggling around too much. Really good job. Just staying home where he's at, gets his hands on this guy. And I mean, great job just blocking him.
He keeps
using his hands
too.
Yep. Using his hands. The defender, I think, is trying to spin here. And, he's trying to drive him to the outside. So he's really starting to leverage him out towards the outside. And this is where your quarterback's going to see that and step up. So this is what you want to do here. And so he's driving him inside. The defensive lineman starts to peel inside. And this is where, it's a finished rep. Whether you would see this on the field, I don't know. But this is what I like to see. He understands the defensive lineman. You can. There's a pause where he's clearly off balance and he's got his hooks on him. And the next thing you know is he just uses that momentum and throws him right to the ground, finishes him right there. So really enjoyed, his quick feet, good movement, staying square, using his hands to kind of jab at the defensive end here. That's trying to it looked like he's trying to set him up outside, didn't bite, try to jab step back in and then go back out. And he just took him wide. And when he tried to come back in, off balance, he used his big strength and just threw him to the ground. So good first rep there with him. So the second rep, let's see here. This is where this isn't the one he gets off balance. So he does a good job at snap, good step, good wide step. You see that controlled. If you kind of slow it down, John, you see his left foot go back in that slide kick.
Yep.
Plant, but he's not overbalanced. He's ready to take it on, and he's sliding. He's sliding and kicking out, which is what we talk about a lot, which is really good form and good technique. So the defender's trying to go inside on him. It looks, trying to go inside. So he sets up, he anchors in, and so the defender can't get it and is trying to use that leverage on the inside to spin outside. But you can see as he spins outside, basically, he gives up his back, and if this was padded, this probably would have been over, but because it's not, it's a little harder to grab these guys.
Right.
But you see him, the defender spins out, but he stays on his back. And anytime you're a defensive end and you give up your backside to an offensive lineman and they get your hands on you, it's game over. And you can see that he tries to hook him The defensive lineman tries to hook him away, across his back and across his body, but he's dug in. He's got him on his back.
Like 2 seconds on his with his back turned to him,
yeah,
trying to get around him.
And like I said, if this was in pads, that rep would have been over as soon as he had a hold of his back. But because it's not, he gets away a little bit. But using that momentum and the leverage he has, he does not give up his backside. Once he's seen that, the rush is over. The rusher's not going to be able to get out of that. And even though he tries, he basically just rides his back and drives him into the ground. So the rep is over. So good job keeping his base, moving. The rusher tried to come inside on him, kept his feet. Then he tried to spin outside, was able to laterally move really well, and then just grab a hold of him and put him in the ground to finish the rep, which is just a really good rep there. So this next one, I think, is where he gets off balance. Yep. So good. Obviously, love the first step, the steps, doing a good job coming wide. It looks like the rusher is trying to do a little bit of a finesse on him. Good punch out to get get his left hand off of him, the rusher. And this is where you see him get off balance. So he's getting driven back while he's losing his grip here. And you see when the rusher gets into his body and you see him, his stance basically narrow a little bit, where it's not as wide set, where his left leg is a little out more, more in front of his right leg. He kind of loses his base and gets his feet are almost parallel. And then he takes another step with his right foot and he gets truly parallel with his weight coming over his backside. So that he's lost this rep. He's lost his balance here. And he does a good job keeping his feet, but he gets tossed a little bit here. He's able to recover, but again, he's so off balance that there's grabby as the defender spins away from him. And I mean, he just basically holds him after that. So that was probably the one negative rep. Good job recovering, but from the jump, he just lost his base. And that's why it's so important with offensive linemen is your feet are so important, because if it's just a little off kiltered and you have a good pass rusher opposite you with a plan, they're going to attack you. And as soon as they see you off balance, it's kind of a done deal. So this next rep is what I love.
I love this next rep.
So it's a really big defensive end. I mean, you can see this size here. And what he's going to do is he's just basically tries to do a little setup, doesn't bite, so he's going to try and bull rush him. So he does a good job. He gets his hands out and extended. And after he gets into his body, which you don't like to see a whole lot. But what you love is he sets the anchor, and then basically just says, all right, we're not going backwards anymore. And just that's it. I mean, the rep's over. Does a good job of keeping his hands on him as the defender is trying to swipe him off. You can see him trying to rip and pull off of him, but he's got his hooks in on the shoulders. And, he's not going anywhere. He can't use any of his lateral movement. And you see him set his anchor, so he overextends a little bit backwards, but because the defender committed to being into his body, he's able to set that anchor and not allow him through. So basically, that's a done deal. And then he pushes him back. So that's really, really nice rep there of handling the bull rush from what looks like a bigger guy and basically driving him backward after not letting him through. So that was probably my favorite rep for him. And then you see kind of similar, which it's a good front view here where you can see
how
his hands
square right away. It looks like with his body.
Yep, you can see his hands, and just the footwork is really important. He does a really good job of that subtle slide kick, light feet, not big choppy steps, but quick. And the defensive end, you can see, is trying to get into his body and rip him, but basically he gets lower than this defensive lineman. And that's exactly what you want to do. If this guy's going to stand up, use your leverage, get underneath him. That's what he does. The defensive lineman's kind of toast once he stands up. And, right at the 31-second mark, the defender is basically standing up and down. And, he's got his anchor set, so he's not going anywhere. And you can see the defender's just really powerful, but because he's lost his leverage and the anchor's been set, he's not getting anywhere. And even when he tries to throw him off, again, he's got his hands on him. He's got his anchor set. He's given a little ground, but he's staying really good posture with his footwork, not getting parallel, not getting, kind of on his heels. He's staying forward with his power, and basically he's able to when the defender tries to swim move over him, it's a really bad move by the defender because he's already got his hooks under his armpit. So he's trying to swim over that and basically just loses all of his leverage and his momentum. And you see him just anchor and then throw him back. So, just obviously with all of that, great footwork, great balance, great hand usage. One rep where he got off balance, but that's why I was going to say I'm a little disappointed that he wouldn't be an offensive tackle prospect because he's got really good intangibles. In his film, where he's doing a lot of run blocking, I thought it was okay. Aggression and power is what you want. Didn't do a great job of finishing, one-on-one blocks, but this pass rush film is just phenomenal to see, especially against other, good competition. So hopefully he stays on the offensive line. If not, whatever, I'm sure they know what they're doing, but I would love to see. I mean, I love all Michigan State's offensive line recruits. They've all been really good, except maybe one's been a little raw, but everyone else I think could probably play. So another good one.
I think I actually kind of skipped one of our recruits, but I guess we can talk about him next week. I can't remember if we talked about him or not. His name starts with a D. He was definitely the project of the class, and that's why I feel like we talked about him. Let me just look this up real quick before I move on to one of my favorite recruits of the class, the punter. Let's see. Oh God, 24/7 now has it as 2020 sorted. That's beautiful. But yeah, I think you made a great point there, and which is kind of weird when you look at his profile. It says he's an offensive tackle, and then it says he's ranked as a defensive tackle. Yeah, so we skip Damon Kaler. We'll talk about him next week. But he's another offensive lineman. He's offensive tackle, 6'6", 315, so good size. But yeah, I definitely would like to see him as a tackle. I mean, he's got the size, and like you said, pointed out in the one-on-one drill that I got to see and watch with you as we were doing this, really liked what I seen. So hoping for that. Just a couple quick notes on Jack Boymeister. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm probably butchering the hell out of it. Luckily, he's probably never going to listen to this, but it's hard to get excited over a punter, but man, this kid's got a freaking leg. I'm always very appreciative of punters playing, not high level or anything. I did a little punting in high school and played keeper for my whole life in soccer from when I was 4 years old until right when college started. So definitely appreciate the art of punting, I guess. And other than that, I mean, he's got a cannon, he's got a leg, he's got a boot. He's really square when he's punting the ball. He plants his foot and he just explodes, which is what you want to see with him. So if you want to go watch his minute clips of him punting in the same spot 4 times, go to YouTube, and Pro Kick Australia has them all over the place. It's a good punting camp, I guess, in Australia. They got, I think, 36 guys now over in D1 schools. And Shane Graham, our new special teams coordinator, who was a punter in the NFL, discovered him and got D'Antonio to go out there and recruit him. So I think it's a good get for when Hartbarger's gone, who is one of the best punters in the country. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure he's getting his 6 year of eligibility due to a red shirt, or his injury. So other than that, excited to have him. We'll talk about one more recruit next week. Other than that, Austin, if you don't have anything else to say,
Jack Boymeister kicks the ball well. That is my scouting report on him.
Yes. We will. Yes, Austin. I'm surprised Austin didn't do like a 3-page write-up on him punting the ball. But yeah, he's got a leg and everything you want to see technique wise. I'm not going to bore you guys with the basics of punting, but because I'm no expert. But it was good to see, I guess, him
instead of a 3-page write-up, it's 3 words: kicks ball well. There you go.
Yep. Hey, short and sweet, man. I like it. I got to keep my promise this time of being short, so I'm glad that
Yeah, well, we
kept
went
that-
into a lot of
his
detail.
profile short there. He's got great hair, like your tight end does, except it's not long, but it's got great best hair out of the recruiting
Kicks
class.
ball
So there's
well,
that
good
for him.
hair. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Awesome. Well, with that being said, I'm
Great way to end
Austin, co-host John Emmons. Happy early birthday, bud. Safe travels to Wisconsin.
Appreciate it, man.
I'm sure we'll have you on the Purdue episode. But for those, when this gets released, so everyone knows that you'll be in Wisconsin. So
I'll be
you'll
24.
be living large.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we'll see you guys next time.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. If you like what you heard tonight, subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Voice of the Fan, and also give us a listen on SoundCloud. And if you could, like our page on Facebook at Voice of the Fan and follow us on Twitter at Voice of the Fan PC. Thanks everyone.